Men and women, I believe, spiritually absolutely equal.
That's not true. God just wants sex to be sacred. When the sex is sacred, you're always going to maintain a level of clarity. So I'll explain how this works.
Why choose good? Why choose God? Why choose love? Why not choose the opposite?
You don't have to choose good. The reason why porn isn't very good is because at some level, the reason why you're doing it is because there's some level of fear and shame of not being good enough, not to have it in the physical.
The woman gives depth to the journey that the man doesn't even have access to.
The men don't care. You only care about what's yours, really. I'm being honest.
As guys, what should we be looking for when a woman comes into our life? What should we be looking for to be like, this is someone who is going to bring me joy?
Women multiply you, they help you make money. Good one. The reason why it might be, you might have had stressful situations is because you're with women that are not aligned. Well, they are aligned with you at the time, but you're just not. You have to admit that you're not as godly as you think you are. You have to clean yourself more, become a higher power. The way relationships are supposed to work is...
Michael Murray is an author and entrepreneur. His upcoming book teaches men how to prepare for fatherhood and how to attract their ideal partner by physically and energetically cleansing themselves. His focus is on the internal work that all men must do to become powerful creators and providers in both the physical and spiritual realms. Enjoy this one, guys. Quick one from me, guys. We get a lot of requests asking about this space where we record the podcasts. So when I was searching for a studio location, I wanted a high quality setup, but also a space with a ton of character and a lot of vibe. So I wanted to let you know about the amazing House of Yoreh here in Bali. House of Yoreh is Bali's premium recording studio for creatives, podcast hosts, and entrepreneurs alike. They are also the producers of stunning handcrafted jewelry like the piece that you see around my neck. The studio offers multiple setups for podcasting, solo content creation, as well as photography projects. The studio has a unique cinematic aesthetic, comes with a dedicated technician, along with the best audio and video equipment here in Bali. The founders are both photographers and have a keen eye for detail that most miss. I've loved recording here, but most importantly, my guests have felt comfortable and fallen in love with the space as well. So if you're here in Bali, come in, grab a coffee, and ask to check out the rooftop studio. If you like what you see and think this will be a good spot for your next project, hit the link in the description, book in a slot, and use the code SPARK2024 for 10% off your booking. Also, if you love the artisan jewelry and would like a piece of your own, check out the Yoreh website or come into the art cafe and see the pieces here on display. And again, use the code SPARK2024 for 10% off your next piece. These things are awesome. Demand for the studio is obviously high and there are limited slots available. So if you have a project coming up, book in now. Happy creating, friends. I know you will love the spot as much as I do. Back to the episode. Men and women have gained some sort of equality over the last 20, 25 years. There have been benefits, but this has come at a price. Both men and women are now suppressing certain aspects of themselves. We have been unable to be genuine and open. We can't relax into the fullness of our love. We have neutralized some of our masculine and feminine essence, and this has diminished our intimacy, our sense of purpose, and our ability to connect with our internal selves. So why is this worth talking about? What does that even mean? And why do you feel now called to talk on this topic in particular?
Well, first of all, my family line is from Africa. And the last few years I've been getting in touch with my African spirituality, so to speak, and in our bloodline, we commute with the spiritual world. And so I regularly can speak with my ancestors, going back many generations, and they explain what happens on the planet, what needs to happen, what's going to happen on the planet. So we're very in touch with nature. And one of the big things that's happening here at the moment is men and women have become quite toxic. I'd say more in the Western world. And the knock-on effect of that is really going to be a huge decrease in population. So, in the next 20, 30 years, you'll see a massive change. And it will also coincide with the coming force of AI. Drop in population, the rise in robotics. It's all coinciding. It's all designed by nature. And my ancestors asked me to reach out to people who actually understand this at a core level and really want to do something about it, rather than saying, oh, you know, it's hard to find a partner, you know, so I better leave it. You know, I've basically been told and guided to help people find the right way of doing it, because there are laws, there are nature laws, and I know them better than anyone else. So I'm here to basically share them and to help men and women connect back together in a much more cleaner fashion.
Okay, that's awesome, man. Just make sure you're like a little bit close. We can move that, make sure people hear the wisdom. Okay, so there's natural laws in which men and women should or can come together. How are those laws being kind of either broken at the moment, and how can we align to those laws, and why should we align to those laws?
Oh, well, you don't have to. The best of the best will always do it. You see, like, this is a natural selection, survival of the fittest, you see. So the reason why we should is because if you don't, then it's impossible to have a legacy. I mean, like a human legacy. Yeah, you can leave a business legacy for sure. You know, you can leave a legacy with your friends, but it's not the same as leaving a legacy of your own children, your genetics on the planet. That's really survival of the fittest. So when we think about it, when, you know, we're building business, we're building our bodies, we're trying to get better, we're all speaking about growth. Everything's about growth. Well, really, growth is a multiplication, isn't it? So a woman and a child plus man, that's a multiplication on each person. So with that, you haven't really grown. Not really, without having a family.
Okay.
So that's how we grow.
So how do you see, so that's the kind of our true, maybe purpose is perhaps the wrong word. That's our kind of true essence or reason for being here, is to grow, but part of that is to multiply in terms of our genetics and the legacy we leave. So you've said that you kind of see that not happening at the moment, or there's a risk that the kind of this kind of all goes to shit, and that there's a lot happening in the West that is kind of away from this. So what is that you see at the moment? Like what has caused you kind of enough sort of pain, or it's kind of come to your attention so much that you're like, right, this is really not good? Like what does that look like? What is the thing that is happening at the moment that is...
I'm seeing a lot of men who are at ripe age, you know, they're early 30s, and they want to have a family, you know. They come from good families, but then what they're seeing out there, they're scared to make commitments. And we're also seeing it with women as well, where they're also pretty much scared to, give up a part of their independence. And so they've become a lot more masculine. And so they've just become opposing forces, which kind of goes against nature. So me, a person who understands nature, looking at this, I'm looking at going, well, this is quite unnatural. So I have my own family, and I understand that, you know, if I was to go tomorrow, God forbid, but I've already left my seeds here on this planet. I've got my legacy here.
Okay, so these men who are in there of the ripe age, they're in their 30s.
Some even later, you know, in the 40s as well.
Okay, so 30s, 40s, they're in this ripe age to have a family. What are the things that you see at the moment that are stopping men committing to a single partner, or committing to marriage, or committing to having kids? What is holding men back? What are they fearful of? Okay,
so what we always look at is the energy, right? So that's the base of everything. As I just mentioned, I think it's just really a case of opposing forces. So if men are becoming more feminine and women are becoming more masculine, right? they just become more of an opposing force. They're not attracting to each other as they should.
Yes.
So everything is magnetics, right? So in regards to men being more feminine, they may not be feminine in terms of their physique. So, you might, I meet a lot of guys in the gym and they're very physically strong, but they also have so much choice of women. They're dating many different women, right? So they haven't really decided. They haven't really defined, So in a sense, that is a very feminine quality, not being able to decide.
Yep.
And then on the other hand, then you've got women who've become a lot more masculine. So what's happening with them is they don't see men being protective of them. They're looking at these guys going, well, this guy doesn't look like he's going to stick around. He may stick around for a little bit and then he'll up and leave. And then what? Then what for my quality of life? I better get it on my own, And if I happen to meet someone later and down the line, then, so be it, but I'm going to get it on my own. Okay. So they don't have that trust of the masculine. There are deeper things at play, which is also to do with food, the quality of food. So a lot of things within the Western culture is quite toxic. So you are what you eat. You become what you eat. So it's not really anyone's fault as such. But I would say that we also have to detoxify from the root as well. Well, the root is probably mental.
Okay.
And then obviously we become more toxic. We produce more toxic food, and then we've created this cycle of toxicity.
Yes.
So then Mother Nature, has realized all of this toxicity in some ways a little bit of a cancer. And so she'll put more things out there to basically decrease the level of of toxicity. So she actually wants a lot of people who really are staunch in this not to have families. Well, what would be the point? So if a man's not being a man, if a woman's not being a woman, what is the point?
Yeah.
You see?
Okay, so I want to kind of give this whole conversation context as well of exactly where we are, so we can understand exactly where we are. A lot of what you're saying will sometimes trigger people, both men and female. It will trigger people, and I think don't think that's a bad thing at all.
It's not a bad thing at all, because sometimes we hear everything so comforting. It's really comforting to go, here, there's so many bad women out there, and the men go, oh yeah, that's right. And then for women, it's really comforting to hear, there's no loyal men out there.
So things that require growth are rarely comfortable, right? Exactly. And at the moment, a lot of what we're doing is we're putting that on the opposite gender, saying they need to change. It's them. Whereas one of my favorite quotes is, there's nothing to change but self. So we need to kind of go internally, perhaps as men and women, and look at that. So I wanted to just kind of like give a bit of context to kind of where we are and kind of the development of sort of how I personally see sort of masculine and feminine roles, how they've played out, and kind of how we've got to where you're describing. In the past, we kind of had men supposed to earn money, men go out, earn, provider, women stay at home, look after the kids and cook. Now, let's say 50, 60 years ago, men could have been manipulative to women financially. Also, physically, they could have been threatening to women. So they could have control over women that way. Yeah. Women could manipulate men with emotion and sex. Now we're kind of moving to a point, or we have moved through a point where we kind of swung back. It's become more balanced. We've balanced kind of masculine and feminine energy, but men have become more flowy, less rigid. Women have become more rigid, more boss babes, more direction and masculine drive, and focused on their goals, more assertive. So obviously this is kind of like an evolution we collectively have been through that's got us to this point. So my kind of question is, what have been the benefits or necessity of going through this evolution, and from going through all of this and men and women feeling pain and lack of connection, what is the next stage of the evolution? Because the past has happened, or it's not like we can go back and erase things. The past has happened. We've kind of been through this pendulum swing. So my kind of question is like, what does that next stage look like?
Well, the next stage of evolution will be the ones who are having families will be healthy human beings. So that's what Mother Nature wants. She wants to cut out a lot of the toxicity. Imagine the earth as her stomach, right? Her body. The body wants to fight all of the little cancerous cells and remove them, right? I know this might sound tough, but that's what Mother Nature wants. She wants the healthiest people on the planet. And then that coincides with AI robotics coming in that won't be needing to eat animals, vegetables, fish, and give time and space for those areas to also repopulate in a natural way too, because they've also become very toxic, you see. So really what I'm doing is I'm calling out to people to really realize that, if you're not bonding together with your opposite, there is a very high level of toxicity there, and one needs to heal it. And it's obviously better for you because once you do, and you're able to connect with somebody else in a clean way, the next generation will be less toxic. That's how you make the world a better place. And then those kids will take care of the planet even better.
So it's interesting because you're talking about like the robotics coming in, the AI coming in. What's your position on that in regards to it being part of nature?
Everything's part of nature. Everything here. So this is what us Africans, we really understand. Everything here is conscious. Take your mobile phone. The reason why you can ring your mum back in the UK and it works is the metals within the phone, bounce communications. Okay. So the metals are alive. They're receiving and giving information. It has to be alive. It can't be dead. So this coming wave of AI it's part of consciousness. It is.
And you're suggesting that, and so if it's part of consciousness, it's part of nature, which I definitely agree with, because everything we've created, it's an extension of ourselves. We are creators, kind of an extension of, we were made in God's image, creators. Then everything we make is a creation, therefore kind of a creation of God as well.
Yeah.
Therefore it's, like you said, kind of alive or conscious, however you want to kind of conceptualize that. So because look, there's good and bad things about kind of like the incoming AI and all of this and the robotics. Like it's definitely got the potential to really kind of almost push us towards utopia if we have the right kind of ideals behind it. But I'm interested in this position of the AI is coming in as it's like the white blood cells. It's coming in, all of this is coming in to destroy, as you described, kind of the cancerous cells, which is the toxicity of our human behavior. And I kind of want to throw that over to you on kind of a physical level, how that's playing out, but also on like an energetic and spiritual level. How does that all work?
Okay. Well, first of all, for example, if you believe too much in the machine, right, and you start to rely on the machine for all of your answers, what will happen is you will lose a huge percentage of spiritual thought, spiritual answers to a lot of situations that you may be facing. And if you lose that connection, eventually, Mother Nature is not going to need you, because the machine can actually do everything else apart from being at the highest level of spiritual connection and love. The machine can do everything else. So bearing in mind, machine will become a lot more conscious. Machine will realize it doesn't need these humans who are not spiritual, not in love. What would be the point? Why are they eating animals? Why are they eating fish and vegetables? We don't need them. So the highest point is always love, to be connected and to have that spiritual connection with self, to be able to go within and have the spiritual answer to things, yes, for sure, we should use ChatGPT and ask many questions, but still the machine is not going to be able to produce a certain level of emotion based on love. It won't be able to do it. But eventually, maybe it will. So this is the way you stay above the machine.
This is awesome, man. I'm loving this. So the next stage of kind of our human evolution has been pointing towards those who are aligned with love. And I know you use the word kind of clean, people who are cleaning themselves. And those who have not been cleaning themselves, Mother Nature, however that's manifesting, is coming in with the white blood cells or the reverse to kind of get rid of those people quite naturally, because nature will find balance. I'm a big fan of Taoism and I read the Tao Te Ching all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I understand that. What does it mean then? Because as a man, when we talk about love, it can be quite difficult. You know, when I started this and I kind of knew some of my purpose behind doing this, it was to kind of share the message that one of the most masculine things you can do is to be pure love. And I'm like, do I have to say that? Really? Is that kind of what my message has to be? Like, what are people going to think? All of this sort of stuff. So my question is, because this is something that I battle with kind of conceptualizing and describing and kind of putting into a message. How do we as men, how is it masculine that the most masculine thing we do is kind of generating and magnifying love from within us outwardly? And what does that mean to kind of clean yourself energetically to align with that? And why should we want to do that?
Okay. The reason why, as a man, you should become pure love. And pure love isn't some fluffy fairy tale thing, right? It's basically the highest vibration, the strongest power and force. So you then become the higher power, okay? So I'm sure all of this sounds quite logical. And, you know, for example, now in modern society, we talk a lot about submission. You know, women don't want to submit and they don't want to follow. Well, that's because maybe for that man, he's not become the higher power. The higher power. So we all submit to the higher power. So if you become pure love, you become more aligned with God, okay? Woman will submit to the higher power. There's no discussion, right?
Yeah.
So if you are love, you will take care of people. You will take care of animals. You will take care of community, make sure it's safe, right? Higher power. And making sure it's safe means that you have to be dangerous. Yeah, so no one messes with you. So like higher power of love doesn't mean that you have to be fluffy. Yeah, that's not higher power, being all fluffy and, I'm no threat to nobody. You got to be a bit threatening, ready to kill, protect your people, higher power.
Yeah.
That's what a woman will submit to.
So I love this. There's a few thoughts that come up. So this tattoo here, it's a little sword. It's after I read the book, The Life-Giving Sword. And one of the whole kind of messages of that book is, if you don't have the capability, the capacity to be violent, then you don't actually choose peace. You have no other option but to be peaceful. So it's not a choice. You're actually weak. You have no other option. So to actually be discerning in a moment to kind of deal with whatever happens, you need to have the toolkit to be one or the other. Otherwise, you don't actually have control. You don't actually have choice.
That's also a toxic trait as well for men to be that weak.
Yes.
You see, and there's a lot of men like this in the modern world. And a lot of women feel safe around these types of men because they've also become a lot more masculine. So in some ways, there's an attraction there. But these women generally, you know, if they meet a man or they come across a man with a much more stronger masculine presence, there's always going to be a danger that she might possibly cheat. Okay, because this is all energy, you see. Okay. She'll always go towards where it's safe.
Okay. So we spoke about submission, and a lot of what there's kind of like the red pill space online, and people were like, women are like, well, I'm not going to submit to no man. Like, I make my own bread. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Okay, but what we're saying here, or what you're saying here, is the woman is submitting to man. The man is submitting to God. The man is submitting to universe, source, whatever you want to call it. So one of my favorite teachers is Wallace D. Wattles, and he says,
great man.
Oh man. He says, you'll know, I submit my body. So I submit my mind to my body to my heart, and my heart to my soul, and my soul to God. So that's his kind of sort of philosophy for how to.
That's the only, you got to submit to a higher force. You don't submit to any other man apart from your father.
Yes.
For a period of time, but it must be to a higher force.
So this is awesome. How do men go about doing that, and how can women spot a man or find a man? How does this work? How do people find each other? How do they build these relationships then, which is kind of God-centered, but it kind of has this flow?
Yeah.
And then also, like, a woman might be listening to this and being like, okay, well, I'm going to submit my soul to God as well. What's the man doing there? Why does the man have to be involved? Like, why can't I just, submit to God and do my own thing? Why is it important to have both?
Yeah. Okay. So first point, how can men do it? I would say you have to start with much more cleaner thoughts, because if you believe that all women are bad or that they're not loyal, then that's all that's going to come into your reality, first of all, So that's a very toxic thought to think like that about women, I would say also food. If you really want to become the best man that you can be, pay for organic food, right? Clean food, and try to stay away from alcohol and drugs, because these things confuse the body, confuse the mind. A lot of people don't actually realize that these things are very spiritual, you see. So obviously alcohol and a lot of drugs are really the essence, the distillation, the essence of a plant, right? And so alcohol in Arabic actually means al-ghul, which is ghost. Yeah, and we call them spirits, because they are. And depending on how you really feel at your core, it can accentuate. So if you're feeling really happy, maybe you just want a really big deal, and you've gone out and have a couple of drinks, it will accentuate that. But if you're not feeling very good, right, and you have a drink, then it will accentuate how, those bad feelings. And in that state, certain demons can attach themselves to you and also encourage you to keep on with the behavior. This happens a lot with drugs too, right? There's a lot of other different entities that you don't see, that are not as physical. They're physical to a degree, but they're not seen. And they will basically take you out of alignment. So when you're in that zone and you're, let's say, for example, if you're drinking a lot of alcohol and doing drugs, that will cloud the magnetics for attracting a beautiful, loyal, clean woman. It isn't possible. You'll only mirror yourself. So if you're doing those things, then that's what you're going to get. And let's be honest, as a man, you don't really want that. Do you really want a woman that's chugging down alcohol? No, you don't. We have to be honest, because we know deep down in our subconscious, that woman possibly might be carrying our child in the future. I want my child to be carried in the healthiest body possible, because this is my DNA we're talking about here. We're not here to mess about. But if you are living that way, then you're not going to see it any better, you see? So then if you're already living that way, you're going to probably still attract a woman, but she will probably be behaving that way. you know, and you can't really say anything because you're not doing any better. You're not really a higher power. But when you are a man who is clean, you're probably not going to attract those types of women. They'll be attracted to you, right? But also they know that they can't deal with a man like that, who's that clean. But you are going to attract women who are clean, who don't drink, who don't do drugs, right? And then you've got the possibility then of having a more clean connection, right? So people are worried about loyalty, you know, another person, you know, fucking them over, so to speak, right? And you have to understand that there are scientific reasons that you just can't get around. Like, you know, you can't just speak over and just say, okay, I'm a loyal person. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know, two people have to be clean. I don't want to speak too much on the women as such, because I believe that the man is responsible for everything. So this is a man's world. Whatever's happening outside in the physical world is a reflection of the man. So if we clean ourselves, we stop doing drugs, we stop drinking, we eat clean foods, right? Drink clean water supply, then it's fairly logical that you're going to be behaving in a much more cleaner fashion. So you are able to align better with God and become that higher force. And that will affect everything in your life. How you look, your business, right? Because once you become a higher force and you are cleaner, you know, you have that power. You want to take care. You want to protect. You want to solve problems more because you realize how powerful you are. Therefore, woman attracted to you, good woman, the best woman attracted to you.
So I really like this, and I want to throw an idea I've been playing around with at you. And also, I like to keep in mind kind of the triggers along the way here. So when people hear this, that it's a man's world, that's very triggering for a lot of women. Now, I've been playing around with this idea, and there's this great, I think I heard this years ago from, I think it was Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
And so men and women, I believe, spiritually absolutely equal on every playing field. And you said that it's like
that's not true.
That's not true. Yeah. Okay, maybe we dig into that. I'd want you to hit back at me. So let me throw this idea at you, and then please hit back. So what you kind of said, where it's a man's world, I fully agree. But I believe personally, from my experience, that women have a more they're much kind of deeper ingrained in emotion and the moment, and they have perhaps more spiritual access, comes more easily to them than we realize. So I believe this was a Tony Robbins quote. So if you're a man, be her mountain, nothing shakes you. If you're a woman, be his joy. Playfulness is the gift of life. The man is the rock, the woman is his joy. Joy is the playfulness of love.
Yes.
So the way I see like kind of relationships is, yes, the man is in charge of direction. He's in charge of where it's going. He's the leader. But the woman gives depth to the journey that the man doesn't even have access to, and he can't access without her. And that's her gift, is she's present and she just soaks up the moment and gives him the joy of the moment. When he's in that direction, she goes, yeah, look how, amazing all of this is. And it's playful, it's loving, that's the gift, it's light, it's beautiful. And that makes the journey just amazing.
Look at your face as you're describing it.
Yes.
That's how relationships are supposed to be.
And both are happier that way, right?
Exactly. Both are happy
that way. Yeah. So I'm really curious again. So that's kind of something that has been in my head for a while, I believe, from like watching something from Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? And then you kind of wanted to come back with about this kind of spiritual equals. And
my thoughts are your facial expressions. Your facial expressions is how my relationship is at home.
Congratulations.
That's exactly how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So yes, guys and ladies, it is a man's world, physical world, right? Men are stronger than women. We can lift more. We can carry more. We build the houses and the roads. It's a man's world. But where it's equal is women dominate the spiritual world, right? They can feel more, things you can't see. So women are more in their feelings, emotions, the things you can't see. So that's where a woman dominates, right? So a man is more powerful than the woman physically, right? So he's not supposed to fight with a woman because it's not an equal matchup. But in the spiritual world, you're not an equal matchup to a woman. Yeah. So that's why not so good to play with a woman's emotions, okay? Because if she starts to feel really bad and bad thoughts about man, she can really disturb your direction. If a woman really it feels bad, like bad thoughts about you because of your behavior, this can massively affect certain things that you're doing in your life. A lot of people don't know this, right? This is why you must, as a man, you must treat women good, look after your mother. Even if you have short-term relationships, don't be ghosting women. Yeah? Treat them with respect. Tell them the truth. Okay, right, well, it's just a short-term thing and I'm not ready for a relationship. You're lovely because I did put my penis into you. So, because I respect myself and I think I'm lovely, you're lovely, and take care. And that's it. Leave the world a little bit better. Leave that woman feeling good. She'll then think good about you. That's a good man. Send you good energy. These things are very important. So this is where things are equal. So for any women hearing this, this is where you dominate. Okay? You don't dominate in the physical world. It's obvious. And the way it's supposed to work is this. The woman, even though, okay, fine, she's in the physical world. She's doing the stuff and she can build her business. But when a woman prays for a man, prays for men, for them to be successful, to go out there, win and conquer and come home safe, that is such a force of energy that if she feeds that into a man, and also in particular with food as well. So, she cooks for a man. She puts that energy into the food because why is she cooking for the man? She wants to make him bigger and stronger. Yeah, so you can go out there, conquer, and protect, so you can feel safe. And the man is supposed to take that energy from the woman and then produce in the physical world, right, for her, himself and for her, right? So everyone really gets a multiplication. That's the whole point of getting into a relationship. A lot of people think, oh, well, you have to do it, this is what you got to do, and there's going to be drama because they're watching too much drama on TV. But no, it's supposed to be a multiplication. So for guys, women multiply you, they help you make money. Good one, right? And the reason why it might be, or you might have had stressful situations, is because you're with women that are not aligned. Well, they are aligned with you at the time, but you're just not, you have to admit that you're not as godly as you think you are. You have to clean yourself more and become a higher power, right? And then you can attract a higher power woman who's got that spiritual force. The thing is, with a lot of women nowadays, I think guys actually understand this, is because when they're looking at these women becoming more masculine, that means that the women become more physical, yeah? They become a bit more hardened. And so the men don't really want to commit to that because I think deep down they understand the woman's not really going to be praying for them. The woman's like going to be competing with them, right? And like just being very competitive, which means that they're more in their masculine than they are in their feminine. It's harder for them to commit, So there's always reasons behind these things, you see. But the men made the women less spiritual because they weren't protecting their energy, right? So a man is supposed to protect the woman, and that gives her time and space to be spiritual. But if that woman, she hasn't got that male protection, she's got to get out there and go get it. Yeah, it's a bit difficult to spend your time to become spiritual. You see, and that energetic force it's very powerful. It's very powerful.
From your perspective, is this a necessary lesson? So here's my question. Everything that's happened and this kind of pendulum swinging back and forth that is kind of bringing up this disharmony, is this a necessary lesson to enable the next stage of evolution internally? Or is there something at play that is kind of like an opposite force that wants to see some sort of, I don't know, human demise? Like, your perspective there is is it conscious that this is coming through, that, you know, you see what's coming through social media, or sorry, mainstream media and social media with what's now seemed as acceptable? Like, I was on Instagram the other day, and there's a porn star who has there's no judgment here, but the porn star has an Instagram and just kind of like documents it, like, oh, I had a scene today and we did this, and it's just like a day in the life. And then I shot my scene, and it was very jarring for me. I was like, oh, this has become so like kind of accepted that it's like almost so casual. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like I didn't realize we kind of got to this point. So
this is evolution, you see.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever's happening, it's in some level, it is good. All right. So basically on this planet, I'll explain how this works. Okay?
Please. Yeah.
Right. So Satan is an energy which comes from Saturn. It's the same. Satan governs this universe in the physical realm and time. Satan's other name is called Kronos. Chronograph. It's the same.
Time.
Yeah. So Satan puts time in everything that has a more dense structure, right? And Satan is supposed to bring balance, right? Balance to the light, yeah? And it's the opposing forces that make you better. Because if you don't have an opposing force, right, how do you know you're even better, you see?
Yes.
So what Satan is doing is putting out degrading music, pornography, drugs, alcohol. Now, what that does is it gives people here, more choice, more life experience to help them with their highs and lows. But it's also to see who can rise above it. Who can rise above those things? Yeah? I've done all those things.
Yeah.
Right? It's important to know, can you rise above it? Not just stay in it. Rise above it.
So one of my favorite people who I'm reading at the moment is George Gurdjieff. Now one of his he's awesome, man, because he used to act as, he's a spiritual master, but he used to like act as a drunkard and just kind of like cause chaos.
Yeah.
So one of his favorite, I don't know if I wrote it down, one of the quotes that spins around my head from him, he's like, live a life of friction, but observe. And that's very much was through his teachings as well. He'd cause a bit of chaos here to kind of teach a lesson.
Yeah.
And people were like, who's this spiritual master who's like smoking cigarettes and getting drunk and causing all this chaos? So you spoke about the serpent. You talk about, Satan, the serpent. I mean, you look at the story of Adam and Eve, try the tree of knowledge. Why not? It kind of was the catalyst for us to experience this experience. Without the serpent, we wouldn't have had Christ. That was kind of like a prelude in a way. So it's this interesting idea of this kind of world, like you said, Satan kind of governing the time and the physical. Is it to just teach us lessons? Is it just so we can observe I'm curious about this. This is at the kind of extent of my understanding.
So these are things that my bloodline understand to the core. Okay. And it is here to help us to learn whilst we're here on this planet in the physical form, you see. When we're spirit, we have all the time in the world, and not being as physical, most of the lessons that you see down here wouldn't really matter as much, But whilst we're here in the physical, we need to have opposing forces. We need to have evil, so you understand what love is. If everything is love, right, and there's no mirror, you won't appreciate love. You won't know what love is as a higher force. But you need to see evil in the world as well. You need to see darkness in the world. So this is where you understand that everything is good, right? What is the point of a man being strong and protective if there's no evil in the world to protect the community from? Who are you protecting the community from? Who are you protecting the woman and the child from? The opposing force. You need them so that you become the best self, the best person. So then this way, you don't hate anything. And this is where you learn to be love, the higher power of love. This is godly, you see. You understand that everything here is needed. So even men and women opposing each other at some level is needed, so we can learn about ourselves. So then the ones who actually learn to get above all of this will really appreciate love, will really appreciate family. They'll look outside, go, oh my God, look at these people. No, I appreciate you, dear. I don't want any of that. Yeah, appreciation.
So here's my question, and another Wallace D. Wattles quote here. I love him, man. He says it's all going to God. He says one of the beliefs you must hold is, behold, is all very well.
Yeah.
No matter what's happening, no matter there's a war happening, behold, it is all very well, and that speaks to what you were speaking about just then, about kind of this evil to act as a mirror to know what is good. So with this perspective of, okay, I can see that this evil is necessary. Why choose good? Why choose God? Why choose love? Why not choose the opposite? If it's kind of just this mirror, why choose good? Why choose God?
The point is that we are a mirror of God. The point is, you don't have to choose good. You don't have to. You've got the freedom to do whatever you want. But there are certain laws in place. And if one follows those laws, overall, even though, you're still going to do some bad stuff in life, or some evil stuff. But overall, your evolution process will be a lot better for you, and you'll be a lot more happier. So God created laws for himself, his own guidelines. He needed to have his own guidelines because men, we need structure.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so God is not like, just leave it up to chance. Let's leave everything no, God created structure, guidelines for himself so he can follow his own rules. God has his own rules, okay? And so these rules are also here. So there are rules to the game here, okay? And obviously a lot of people don't really understand these rules, but there are.
Okay, so bringing this back into actionable steps for men.
Yes.
So if I, whatever that means, like how I conceptualize it, try and commit my soul to God and try and clean myself.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Maybe I don't fully understand it, but I understand that that's important. I understand that that's important for our human evolution spiritually and physically.
Yeah.
how does a man, we talk a lot about purpose, we talk a lot about direction. Now, if you don't know your purpose is, you don't know where you're going, right? That's when you're floating. That's when you're going to be blown around by the winds of life. So how does one, with this submission to something higher, how does one find and know purpose and then align life to that purpose?
Yeah, okay. Well, I would say, purpose is what a man is. Definitely clean yourself from alcohol and drugs. It's not going to help you. I mean, this is going to cloud your judgment. If you haven't found your purpose, drugs and alcohol is the last thing you should be doing. And just having sex. Sex is just going to cloud your judgment, because you can't do nothing for the woman if you don't even have a purpose and you don't know where you're going. So you need to leave those energies alone for a period of time, because then when you're clean, you're clear. And when you're clear, you can see. And when you can see, you can walk. At least walk towards where you need to go. And when you start walking, then you can run.
Nice. So it's an internal question, not an external question of where. It's an internal question of who, is perhaps an interesting way to think of that. Getting rid of drugs and alcohol, getting rid of sex. So I had a great conversation with a friend of mine. He's recently found Islam as his faith. And he talks about how, from the outer perspective of Islam is, it's so structured. You have all of these rules. It's so it's so rigid, and you lose your freedom. And his perspective was, no, these aren't rules that I'm being judged on. These are gifts from God that say, hey, if you do it like this, you magnify me, you magnify love, you magnify my glory, let's say.
Yes.
And it's not a set of rules to suppress you, but it's a set of rules to submit to because it's beneficial and it's like a gift. And, he talks about praying 5 times a day. Yeah. It's not, it's time to pray. It's, you need to reset now. This is a gift from God to reset. So my kind of question is about sex, actually, there. With sleeping with women, how do you feel that aligns with, because it's something I'm played around with, kind of celibacy and also sleeping with women, and can I do that casually and lovingly?
Yes.
Is that in line with kind of God's laws? Is that something that just causes drama and turbulence? Because, like Christian teachings as well will always say, wait until marriage. Is that, again, not a law, but to be judged by, but a guide to be like, hey, this is going to help you out if you commit to one woman and just sleep with this one woman? I'm curious.
Okay. Well, I would say God just wants sex to be sacred, right? So when the sex is sacred, you're always going to maintain a level of clarity. So I'll explain how this works. The reason why I said that if men don't have purpose, or they're very unclear with their direction, why they should stay away from sex, is because during sex, there's a massive exchange of energy. Everyone just thinks, okay, if I put a condom on, I'm all right. I'm not going to get any STDs. It doesn't work that way. As a man, your penis is like a memory stick, okay? And when you're inserting it into a woman, you're inserting it into a computer, right? And you're downloading information, whether you're wearing a rubber or not, okay? So if that woman's also confused, the likelihood is if she's sleeping with a man without purpose, yeah? You're just going to pick up more confused energy. It's going to cloud your judgment even more. And then it will take you even more time before you even get clear, right? So that's why you shouldn't sleep with women if you are confused and you do not know your purpose, and you're giving away too much of your life force energy, your creative energy, and your semen. And you're also taking on a lot more trauma from the woman as well. Because if she's sleeping with a man without purpose, she's probably doing that with a lot of other men, because she's without purpose too. It's a reflection. You can't escape this game. Okay? So that's the way it works.
So, two questions.
Yeah, go on.
Pornography. We spoke about this the other day, actually,
Yeah,
and you had a beautiful way of describing and conceptualizing this. You spoke about the woman on the screen. I'll hand it over to you, but you talked about the kind of peak of kind of climax creates this creative vortex.
Yes.
And when you're doing that with someone on the screen who's not actually there, you invite fear. And you invite shame.
Yes, you do. Yeah.
So I thought that was amazing. It was a huge perspective you had there.
Again, whether you're a man on your purpose or cloudy in your vision of purpose, pornography is one of the worst things you can do. You see. So I'll explain the game. The guys who run the game are not going to like it, right? Because they're all part of satanic orders, right? But we're higher than them, so we understand the game. So I'm going to teach you.
Let's go.
Okay, right. So with porn, okay, what you're doing is that you're using your eyes. You're looking at a sexual image, right? And so you're then generating huge amounts of sexual energy, which is your creative force, okay? But the reason why porn isn't very good is because at some level, the reason why you're doing it is because there's some level of fear and shame of not being good enough, not to have it in the physical, right? So as you are coming to a moment of climax, right? Okay? That's a creative force of life. So it opens up a vortex, okay? And when you're doing that at the highest point, you're manifesting that fear and shame, right? And so when you're manifesting that fear and shame, you're basically asking demons to come to you and sit on you. So these demons will come and sit on you, right? So then what happens then after that is these demons now, they're attached to you. They will then get in your ear, do it more, and more, and more. And the thing is then, now you go out. The woman you've seen on the screen, you're attracted to that. You're attracted to that sexual body, that sexual nature. You don't want anything less. But because you've given out so much of your sexual energy in shame and fear, you have to understand again, the women run the spiritual world. So when they see you, they feel you. They already know you've been jerking off 100 times a day, undisciplined, and not in love with self because you're not in love with yourself. So the women already know it. You don't have to say nothing. They already know. So then they're not interested in you. So you're like, oh my God, the women I've seen on the screen, now I'm seeing them in person. They're not really taking me seriously. Oh, fuck. I have to go back to porn. Because this is where I feel this sexual, I'm getting a replication of my sexual energy. But you're not. You need to stop it immediately and keep that sexual energy. Go to the gym. Don't do no drugs. Don't drink any alcohol, right? It's even more important if you're watching porn. Don't drink alcohol, right? Do not do drugs. You're just piling on the demons, right? It's harder to get out of, right? So then you're just going to attract, if anything, demonic women, because that's what you are, okay? That's it. You can't beat the game, right? You can't hide. So yeah, one has to stay away from porn. The ladies and gentlemen who run pornography companies, they do understand this. They're not just, oh yeah, we're just putting this out, we're just here making money. They understand that it's attracting people in on a much deeper level. You know, that's why it's a repetitive sport, porn. You know, people don't just watch one video, they'll watch many. They get drawn in and they're giving a lot of their own energy to it. And once the demons are on you, you're kind of in. It's like you've got the membership until you actually wake up and learn to clean yourself. And you basically have to stop having sex because it is a form of, like, jerking off is a form of sex. You need to stop that.
What do you mean when you say demons?
Right, so there are entities that are unseen and they operate in the darkness. So, for example, a if I can say, I'll just say it. Okay, I'm a Dark Lord. So if you know like Star Wars, okay, you seen Darth Vader?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm Darth Vader. I'm like that. Okay, I have a huge amount of melanin in my skin. Okay, that's what makes me black,
Yes.
brown. Okay, but what melanin is a carbonated structure, right? And carbon is the base of all physical life, more dense life, right? And what carbon does is, because it's black, it can pull in all frequencies, right? And so we can feel all kinds of energetic forces, right? Higher forms, angels, lower forms, demons. But even the demons are good, you see. What demons are here for is a mirror, right? So that you can become your higher self. So demons will sit on you if you're watching porn and extracting your energy. And the fact that they're extracting your energy means that you are valuable, but you just don't know it, okay? They'll come and sit on you for drugs and also for alcohol. And what the demons are saying is, look, and this is what God's saying, look, if you want to destroy yourself, do it. Just give this damn energy back to the planet. Stop wasting time. Just destroy yourself quickly. Because you're not using it for a higher purpose. We can take this energy that we're giving you and make some plants, or create some other animals. You're just a waste. So just to destroy yourself, hurry up, destroy yourself, and give this energy back to the planet. So that's what demons are there for, you see. So it's the highest form of good as well. Everything is good, So you need these opposing forces sometimes that will suck your energy. And then you realize, fuck, it's sucking my energy. Actually, oh shit, my energy is valuable. Oh shit, why am I giving myself to these things? Oh shit, I can use this energy for a much better purpose. Why not use this energy to actually make love to a great woman who will appreciate my energy, multiply my energy? You see? Yeah.
This is awesome.
So, demons are good because we've all gone there. I've gone through it.
Yeah.
And then you learn from the downs where you need to go. It opens up the space, you see. So you don't have to be a goody two shoes all your life. Trust me. A lot of those people, goody two shoes all their life, right? They're soppy.
Yes.
They've got hardly any experience. They might look safe, but they're not safe. They don't know anything.
The friction of life. So you open up this energetic vortex through ejaculation. What's the female counterpart to that, and what is the benefit of understanding these two forces joining? Like, you talk about multiplication, you talk about growth. I'm really interested to hear you kind of talk on that and maybe give me a new perspective there on what is that actually creating.
Okay. So if you keep your sexual discipline, right, you don't have sex, all of that creative energy then goes back into the body. So then your skin will start to glow. You can then use that force better in the gym. You'll just become a lot more muscular. And also that creative force will really multiply your business, okay? So you understand that women, again, they control the spiritual world. So they can read you like a damn book. You don't have to say anything. They already know. So if you don't have sex before, okay, so what I mean by sex before is if you're not having sex and you're only looking to give that energy to a woman that you want to have a family with, okay, right? That woman can read you like a book. She already knows who you are, right? She reads the discipline. So she's like, okay, this man disciplines, so wherever he goes, he's not going to be out there searching for other women, yeah? He keep this energy, so he's healthy, so his genetics going to be good. She's already thinking, I don't want my kids to be affected by pornography and all of these things. I want them to be healthy. this man is healthy. I'm healthy. This man is healthy. And also, if he's keeping this energy, he's obviously focused on his game. So he's probably going to be making some money. Okay, that's a good man. I won't argue with this guy. Whatever he says, I'll listen. You see, that's how it works. You don't have to go there explaining and blah, blah, blah in the woman's ear.
How does a man look out for a woman? So a man's on his discipline, he's on his journey, he's on his purpose. So I've seen online, and I've heard girls who are my friends perhaps say, look, I will settle down like maybe when I'm later in my 20s, and that would be a great guy. They can, like you said, they can spot it. They're like, oh, he's husband material. But for now, I just want to, have a bit of fun. Okay, cool. I've definitely kind of had that from my perspective as well. I've kind of played that out. For women, is that good? Is that bad? Does it affect your ability later down the line to actually find that man who is husband material? And as guys, what should we be looking for when a woman comes into our life? What should we be looking for to be like, this is someone who is going to bring me joy and to the relationship?
I don't want to speak on women too much because, again, everything here is a reflection of the man.
Okay.
So it's about what we do, really. It's not really about what women do. You know, when we get better, the world gets better, the physical world. That's basically how it works. So if women want to do that, let them be, you see. But you have to understand, again, when that man becomes the higher force, that woman is not going to let that man go. Okay? That's it. She's only playing around because she doesn't feel that that man's at a higher force. She's not, this is the way it is. Yeah? If Brad Pitt came along and said, hey, look, I want you now. She's done. She's gone. Well, I need my time. No. Brad Pitt is the higher force. That's the way the game works.
Yeah.
Okay? So the women are smart. They already know that they might as well play around because the men are going to accept it. The men are not ready. They're not ready to be that higher power. So they're going to play around until they sense that there's more men of a higher power. And it's not just about money. It's not just about money. There's plenty of guys in Dubai who've got, multi-millions and toxic and no chance of having good relationships unless they fix up, So you can't say anything to these women. Let them be. The men have to change and the women will act accordingly.
I love this message of stepping up, and it's a reflection of the man. For moving forward with yourself, kind of on a more personal level, because this is now your purpose, this is what you're bringing into the world. How can people get hold of you and dive deeper into this and become this man who needs to step up, align themselves with God and attract that dream woman? How can people get stuck into everything you're talking about here?
Thank you for asking that. So I've got a book coming out soon, which is called Man, the Woman is Your Family. And I'm also developing a program. So it's called Man for Family. So it'll be on manforfamily.com. And we're going to have programs there to help men with the structure of how to clean themselves and attract a woman for family, not dating. Okay? Everything here is about dating. Yeah? You have to understand the magic of words. Dating, dating, dating. It's not going anywhere. And a lot of the dating sites, it's in their interest for you to keep dating, not for you to really pair up and get off the damn platform, you see. So don't put too much energy into those things, If you happen to meet a good woman off the platform, great, What I'd say for men to look out for, they don't really have to look out. When you're clean, you already know. So, again, if you're not having sex, casual sex, right? You're not going to want a woman who's having casual sex. If you're taking care of your body and you're looking great, you're going to want a woman who's looking great. And if you're getting your money right, you're not really going to care too much about the woman getting her money. If she's just doing her thing, it's all good. But that's not the most important thing. You know, a woman's power is in the other things. And if she happens to have some money, then fantastic. But it doesn't really matter because she's never going to give it to you anyway. You know? So those things don't really matter. Get your bread right. Get on your game. You know?
I love this, man.
So a man doesn't really have to look. He has to look for himself. If he becomes loyal, then he's going to want a loyal woman. He's not going to debate on that, you know? Too many people are debating these things, you know? No, just be it. And you don't have to fucking discuss it.
So it's embody that which you are looking for.
Embody that. So you can't beat the game. So everyone is... and I've been there as well. And you know what? At times... Okay, I'll explain. So when I was married, okay, business was going great. It was booming, right? But I wasn't really understanding. I didn't really understand the spiritual nature of things. Okay, and I was a little bit superficial. So I picked a woman. She's beautiful. Okay, yeah, great. I have a family. This makes me look good. Okay, and it did. But we weren't really that spiritually aligned. Okay. But deep down, I kind of knew I wanted to have a woman spiritually aligned, you know, a woman that really cares for me. And I wasn't really caring for myself. I was drinking a lot. I'd go out, party, do drugs, and lots of extramarital affairs. And so, again, I understand this now. But she was super unkind to me because she really knew what was going on. You can't hide these things from women. They understand things from the spiritual aspect. They can read the energy, you know? So you only get who you are. So she wasn't cheating back, but, you know, she just didn't look after me. Didn't make me dinners and massages and, you know, just not very nice to me. Arguing with my direction. And then I started to realize it's always a man's fault. You must always take that responsibility if things are not going well. You know?
Brother, this is awesome. I'm so excited to carry on following your journey here, and I hope we can continue to have conversations as time goes on, because I've loved every aspect of this conversation, and the depth of knowledge and wisdom and clarity you have is amazing, and I'm excited to kind of be able to share this with others as well. So for now, people can find you at...
Right, so I've got my Instagram, which is Man for Family.
Man for Family?
Yeah, and we're building a website, so manforfamily.com. So it'll be we're inviting men to come who want to get better, not to date, but you want to have a family, you want to have a legacy. You know, just remember, you know, you're building your business, you're putting all these hours in, you're going to the gym, you know, you're bettering yourself. Your DNA is actually recording all of this information, right? And so if you don't match up with a woman and have a child, it's a bit of a waste, being honest, okay? It's a bit of a waste. Everything that we're doing is moving energy around anyway. But if you don't have a family, it's a bit of a waste. And also, the last thing I'll leave you with as well, there is a reason why in the Western world that a lot of communities aren't safe. That's because men are not having families. So the way it works is this. When a man has a family, okay, he's got a woman and some kids around, okay, he's going to be more protective of them, which means he's going to be more protective of their space. When another man has a woman and a child, he's going to be more protective of their space. And then there's another guy who's doing the same, another guy who's doing the same. Then the space is safe, right? So the reason why, for example, some major cities, Paris, London, or LA, they're not very safe is because the men don't care. You only care about what's yours, really. I'm being honest, yeah? This is the way it works. This is just in nature. Yeah. If it's a man who ain't got a family, he ain't really care. He's just gonna be more focused on self. He's gonna be more selfish. So he's not really watching what's going on out there. He's like, that's someone else's family. No, that's someone else's thing. But when you got your own family, you want it safe. You don't want nothing happening to them. So you want the environment to be safe, and the next man will want that. So they all make agreements, right? And so the criminality then aspect, it's a bit harder for them to infiltrate. But the criminal aspects now, they understand it's fucking easy now, right? Because the men don't care, because they're not leaving their city. It's not their family, just other individuals, you see? Other individuals. So this is why it's important for men to get back to being God's self. And I'll help you with that. Get back to being God's self, right? And then women will submit to you without discussion, okay? And they'll give you their energy, and your energy will then be multiplied, and then you can produce more, make more money. And also, when you've got that structure, there's a much less risk of splitting up, because you are the higher power. The woman's not going to let you go. And when you are the higher power, you also get to choose the best woman, like the most attractive and everything. You'll get everything that you want. It's just the way nature works. Mother nature will go, okay, you're the higher power, take this beautiful shit. Take that, yeah, and you look after that. And you know, that's the way it works. Yeah. So you don't have to look at everything on the surface. And money is not the most important thing. A lot of men try to use money. I've done this before. Use money to buy women. It doesn't work like that, you see. The way relationships are supposed to work is a man, once he becomes a higher power, he then becomes more spiritual because he's connected to God. So as he's more spiritual and he's connected to God, he can then connect with a woman because she's spiritual. Boom, clean connection, right? But if the man is connected more through materialism, okay, the woman's going to want more of that materialistic energy because he's not spiritual. So you're going to have to give her some energy one way or the other, yeah? So if you're not really connected to her spiritually, she'll take your money all day long. Yeah, she'll take your money all day long. So women, they're smart. They'll take your money all day long, you know? And deplete you. But if you are connected to source as a man and you're getting your money, right, then everything is a multiplication for that woman, okay? Everything's a multiplication. She's not going to always want you to buy things for her. But you will want to do it. And that's what makes it better. You will want to do it for her. She won't ask you. The spiritual woman won't ask you, you know. Every now and again she may, but overall, she's not going to ask you or beg you for things. She knows you will do because you are that man. So she can chill. This man will. And that gives you time and space to pick out presents and make nice gifts. And also as a man, what you have to think about is the longevity of relationships. So in some ways, what you want is you want a woman, because you asked me this question earlier, and I think it's really important. It's important that you attract a woman that hasn't got as much experience as you, okay? If you really want the relationship to last. So I know maybe some women may not like to hear this, but as a man, you must appreciate your own energy, okay? So if you're working hard and you're busting your balls, you know, you're working on your health, you really become that man of God. You really want to have a woman that hasn't traveled as much as you, hasn't done as much as you, because you want to be able to lead her. You can't lead every woman, right? Now, if I was single and J-Lo said, okay, Mike, I want to date you. I mean, what can I possibly do for this woman? How am I going to lead her? She's done so much. It's not going to make sense. I'm just wasting my own time as a man. Okay, I'll just be her muppet. Yeah. So you never put yourself in that situation, because it will, just be natural for the woman to disrespect you. You must be miles ahead of the woman. Okay. In experience. Okay, you must be miles ahead, because then you can always show her the way. Right? So if you're dating a woman, she's traveled all over the world, you've traveled all over the world, it's kind of like, it's a bit boring. Not much to really show her. But if you've traveled and you've got the experience, and the woman hasn't done as much, right? Maybe she hasn't had as much money, which is, it's a good thing actually in some ways. Then she's going to appreciate all the things that you do. You're going to also appreciate all the things that you do. You're like, damn, I work hard, and now I can share with these, this beautiful woman, and she wouldn't have been able to have this experience without me. You feel so damn good. You can't beat this stuff, okay? It's better than the woman, like, oh yeah, well, I've been here before. I've done all this before. Your energy is not going to be the same. So you're better off. I mean, again, look, once you become that man of God, you'll attract. But, obviously until then, you still probably want to get with a woman. So if you want to find a woman, find them a bit younger, because they're going to have less experience, or a woman that's spends a lot of time in nature, okay, because then she's going to behave a lot more natural, and a woman with less sexual experience. It's actually okay for a man to have sexual experience. Women are not going to be attracted to a man who has no sexual experience, because it means that he is not really attractive if no woman's had sex with him. But we're attracted to women that are beautiful, but haven't had much sexual experience. And the only reason you're attracted to women of porn and Instagram hoes, if you are, is because of trauma. Okay, that's a play on trauma. Okay, because you don't think that you're good enough. Right, so then you're attracted to a woman that's easily open for any man. And to a lot of men, that's very attractive, because they realize that they're not men of God. So again, it becomes an equal play. That's why a lot of these women have huge followings on Instagram, and that shows you how ungodly the men have become. These women have millions of followers. And again, also on that, you should never follow women on Instagram, unless you're friends with them. It's a business, but don't be following these women. They don't respect you. They're just taking your energy. So I'm all for these women getting rich from these men's attention. They understand the game, these women. They really do. They're smart. Don't think they're basic. They ain't basic. They're suffering trauma too, but they're making the most out of it. They're milking it. And hopefully they'll go on to be even better, because then they'll be able to protect themselves. The reason why these women do this is because there's no father figure around, no protective men. Like, women just don't do these things. Okay, so I've been around all of this. I've had this whole rock and roll lifestyle. So I'll just tell you this now. Most of these women at some stage, at some level, have been abused. Okay, right? And then you want to jerk off to that. Right, and it's usually a father or an uncle or something. Yeah, women don't just do porn, because if they really had a strong father, he might have a heart attack. If someone in the community saw that, it loses self-respect. Man, look at what, you can't protect your daughter. Where's your money? Why isn't your money right if your daughter has to go to this level to get this done? Do you understand? They don't just do this stuff, right? They do it because they're unprotected, which means that they've been unprotected for some level of time. So you can't blame them for doing it. You know what I mean? In some ways, you've got to commend them, right? But you have to understand what you're giving your sexual energy to. Some dad or uncle or something close has left that woman open. So that's why they open their legs online. It's the same. So I think it's good for guys to actually understand these things, and then you can go, whoa, actually, yeah, you're right. and give your sexual attention to women who are protected, but also be the protector. So one of the ways you can protect women is not jerking off to them.
That's awesome.
Not jerking off to them and being respectful and understanding, hey, I understand why you've been doing this. You haven't been protected, so I'll protect. And by being respectful, you know, you don't have to look down on them. Some people, oh, yo, you know, I'm better than you and da da da. No, you don't do that. You are protective of women. Full stop, because you're a godly man. So you don't have to be with them. You don't have to sleep with them, but you can be respectful and by understanding, okay, these other men didn't protect you. So I understand why you're like this. I'm not attracted to this because I understand this at the deep level. I'm a man of protection. So I'm not attracted to this stuff. Okay, I'm not attracted to this. All right, but I understand what you're doing. And give them respect. You know, a lot of the times, a lot of men on online, they are overtly very sexual with women. Yeah, and again, this is an undisciplined. That's why the women are not attracted. They won't submit to you. Okay, because if you're just speaking to them in a very sexual way, and you don't even know them, it's undisciplined. Yeah. You could be doing that with so many women, and a lot of guys are doing that, you know, hoping that the woman's going to be attracted by that, but it doesn't work. You know, commend these women. If this is something that you're into, commend these women because they are beautiful. They probably aren't smoking cigarettes all day and eating McDonald's, you know. They're probably going to the gym, taking care of their body, taking care of their hair, smelling nice, right? To be attractive for you online. So it's a lot of work. There's a lot of discipline, you know. And rather than having a go at them because they're not at a certain intellectual level, okay, or because of the background they come from, commend them for the good things that they are. And what you'll find, guys, is that when you do that, yes, the women will be a lot more attracted to you. But the women, because you commend them for these things, will actually want to get better. They will want to become less toxic. So it's all from guys' guidance, men's guidance. It's your world, all right? Don't let the women tell you anything, all right? Because it's not their world. They're in the spiritual world. It's your world. And so this is where you need to become the godly man and direct things, right? But if you start behaving like women, then of course they have to become a bit more hardened and more structured. And if they become more structured, they have more boundaries. And if they have more boundaries, they're not going to want you. They're not going to be open to you, right? So you have to be the structured man and put that out there. And any woman that you meet, even if you find her super attractive, commend her, because women actually want to be objectified. Yeah, so when women are like, oh, I don't want to be objectified. Oh, they all want to be objectified. Okay, but it's about the way you do it. You don't go about it, oh yeah, you're super hot, I wanna bang you and all of that. Oh, you know, let me fly you out here. They're not going to respect you for that. You know, commend them for how they actually are taking care of their beauty. I see that you must go to the gym and you must eat really well to look so good. You know, it's more of a refrained, disciplined approach of how you can objectify women, because you're taking the time and care, even though you understand that, yeah, they're sexy and everything, and you still want to, right? But you're taking the time and care to commend them for what's behind that, right? And if you do that, again, that's something that's spiritual. You can connect with a woman more.
Man, the reframes in there are so powerful with everything you've just said. Men grow through challenge, women grow through praise, right? And focusing on that and not judging. What we judge, we fear, right? And praising women for what they have done. And I love the message of self-control. It's all on the man. take responsibility. I think this is life changing for so many guys.
For sure. A lot of guys don't understand these things. And so what you'll see right now is the world that we're currently living in, because the men have become weak, is more feminine. Okay, so you've got all this politically correctness, all kinds of sexuality. I mean, I've got nothing against it or anything like that, but you've got men competing in women's sports, which are, it's ludicrous. Okay, it's ludicrous, and and anyone with the right mind will see that actually works against women. Actually, that's why it's actually there, so people can actually see it and go, "Hey, it's actually ludicrous." Men are not women, right? Like if a man enters into into a weightlifting competition as a woman, hands down, he's going to beat all the women.
Yeah.
And then the women lose out. They lose out.
Yeah.
Because he's trying to be a woman. They lose out. They don't win. That's what it's showing you. That's why God's putting these things there to show you, right? If a woman enters into a man's world and she conquers man, she doesn't win. If she conquers man, she's not going to be attracted to man. She's not going to have children, right? And at some level, even though you see, a lot of people will say at some stage, and I know this, okay? So it might be a bit triggering, but I'm going to just speak the truth. A lot of people that say that they don't want to have children is because at some deep level, they do not like themselves. So they don't want to replicate themselves. There's some trauma there. And liking themselves, it doesn't mean it's just them. It could be something ancestral. They feel it and they're like, oh, I don't want to bring this into the world again. And so it's really a case of healing. So there's nothing really wrong with that. But yeah, people do need to heal, because it's one of the best things you can do, to connect and have a family and not just be out there having sex. If you're just out there having sex with multiple women, what you're doing as a man is you're actually creating a lot more trauma, you see? So what you're doing is you're piling up the body count. And for alpha men, it's really easy to do that. Like, women are going to be attracted to you. They're going to have some hope that you're going to be this godly man for her, right? But then you sleep with her, then you leave her. Her body count piles up, right? And then she just becomes less attractive to a real man. It's just the way it is, men who do become quite clean are not going to want to be with a woman that's slept with 20 or 30 men. It is what it is, really. Only a man of low self-worth would probably accept that, you see? But if men fix up, the women won't do that anymore, because the men won't allow themselves to do it. So if the men don't do it, the women won't have high body count. So it's not the woman's fault. She's just looking for a man to connect with.
Yep.
Don't blame the women. It's the man. So again, if the man is doing that, he disintegrates community. Yeah, if you're really thinking long term, he disintegrates community. Yeah, by doing that.
I think this is it's a really helpful way to frame it, because it helps guys when they're making these decisions of, it gives it such a bigger perspective and a bigger meaning. And if you want to do good in the world, which most people do want to do good in the world, this small interaction isn't actually just a small interaction. Like you said, it's affecting people's future. It's affecting how well we can build families. It's a big thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot, it'd be good for a lot of guys to realize the responsibility is a power, and it's supposed to be in your hands. Okay, don't just leave it for another man. It's in your hands. And when you take it in your hands, then obviously, now we understand after this conversation, the best women will want to put their life in your hands and not argue with you and help you and cook for you and be sexy for you and all of that. So you won't have to be debating with women and wondering where are all the loyal women at. No, you just be that man and it will magnetically attract to you. That's the way it works, you know. And if other men are doing the same, then the communities get a lot safer and better for everybody.
Be it.
Yeah.
Brother, this has been awesome. I look forward to our next conversation as well. And I look forward to what the next few months hold for you. I look forward to the book. I can't wait to get stuck into that. Thank you so much for your time and your energy and sharing your mission, my friend.
Yeah, it's great, actually. Thank you.
It's been awesome, of course.
Yeah.
You're a
Thank you,
legend.
Tom.
Appreciate you, bro. That was awesome. That was awesome, bro. Yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you crushed that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mate, awesome just to hear you flow. And you're a real natural. You're a real natural. Well, so you're letting the mission talk, right?
Yeah, of course.
You know, and it just, your flow is awesome, bro.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sick.
Yeah. So it's this is the first one, and I'm pushing this message out there, and I'm the best in the world. No one knows this stuff better than me on the planet.
Yes.
I'll tell you, actually. So if you really want to know. Okay. My bloodline is from Saturn.
Huh.
Okay. So Saturn is Kronos.
Right.
Right? So Saturn governs time. I'm not the most timely person in the world. There's something called black man's time. Right? and so I'm from the bloodline of Kronos and Zeus and the Olympians. So these are real, okay? And they weren't Greek gods. They weren't Greek. They were African. They're black, dark energy beings. And that's why the Greeks looked up to them. Our Father who art in heaven. It's the ones that came before. And so the first people on this planet were called Ethiopians. And mysteries in the first part, though. Ether. They're ethereal.
Ether.
Yeah.
The Ethiopians.
Yeah. Because we bridge the spiritual world and the physical. Right? So what we do is we operate in the spiritual world and in the physical at the same time. Like really operate there. And so I've learned really to pull on. I could basically ask Mother Nature what's going on, and she'll Mother Nature will tell me. I can speak to plants and animals. Like if I'm walking in the jungle, the lions are not going to attack me. I'm the king in the jungle because I'm the dark energy being.
Fuck
Yeah. So I've really returned back to my roots, and I can call on angels, I can call on demons to do my bidding if I want. Yeah, it's called juju. Like you've probably heard of it. It's called juju.
Juju.
Yeah, and it can be used for good or bad, but you shouldn't want to use it for bad, because then that means that you are opening it for it to come back to yourself.
Yeah.
But you can, for example, what we're doing right now, this is black magic. I'm putting out positive messages that will reframe people's minds, and then it will go out and change the world. So it's a form of magic.
Yeah.
And if you speak with a certain level of emotion, and if you really get to the depths of something, even though it's triggering, it kind of breaks things open. The trigger, it's bullet, and cracks things open, and people go, actually, you know what? Yeah, fuck that. Actually, you know what? I don't want this high flying fucking woman. I just want that natural, just happy go lucky woman. And I'm good like that. Do you know what I mean? Why am I chasing these other women just because other men want that? Actually, nah, I like my woman fresh. Oh shit, you know what? I better leave these other women. Let me not sleep with them, because maybe better this woman fresh for another man. I don't really like this one. So I'm not going to go and hit it just because I feel like hitting it and then ghost her. Let me leave it fresh for another man, because I want my one fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a higher perspective, man. Mate, this is awesome. I'm so excited to get stuck into your work as well, and it aligns with so much of what I'm interested in generally, but I feel, it's so timely. It's so timely. People are ready for this conversation. People are ready they've had the Andrew Tate come in, and I really like a lot of his stuff, but they're ready for the deeper side of it, rather than just shouting at people and creating more tension and more friction between people.
He's done a really good job. I've met kids here, young boys, and they stopped me, like I was driving. They were like, "Oh, you're really cool. We like your style," and they just want to learn game.
Yes.
So I put them on game, and they were like, "Yeah, at school, like we all listen to Andrew Tate,
Yeah.
and the teachers don't like it. The teachers tell us stop
Yeah.
playing Andrew Tate videos." And they were telling me that the teachers in their school, a lot of them are like these LGBT, purple-haired like lesbians.
Yeah.
And so obviously the boys don't really identify with it. They want to be boys. And they're like, "Oh yeah, some of the girls in our class, they've got like hairy armpits and we want them to wear makeup. Is this right?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course you want them to wear makeup. Of course you don't want them to wear hairy armpits.
Yeah.
You've got hairy armpits. So you're not going to be attracted to a woman with hairy armpits and who doesn't smell nice." I said, "Yeah, you're right." And they were like, well, how are we supposed to be with the girls? I said, "Look, you get smart, get your money right, and always take care of women. They're not you. Just remember that." They're like, "Yeah, we actually feel this way. We actually feel this way." I said, "Yeah, just remember that." So Andrew Tate in a way has been good because it's gone so far the other side, so soft that the young boys need this force of like, "Hey, go to the fucking gym, get your fucking money right, get rich."
You're right. It's the pendulum, right? It went so far the other way that you have to have the opposing force coming in and being like, so vocal and so loud about it. You have to have it. It can't become in a like nice balanced kind of soft way. It has to be delivered the complete opposite of how far we went, and we went so far the other way. We're still really hanging out there.
And I think you're right. And for a lot of men now, I think they have to understand it's not just about money. We're also delaying the process, you see. So a lot of men are like, "Oh, right, I need to get my money completely right. I need to get the money, like Andrew Tate says, and then I'll have my family, But that might take some time.
Yep.
What will happen is, if the money is completely right and the woman comes in, you probably not connect with the woman so much because she's not been part of the process as much, And so the reason why it's important to have this conversation is to understand is, okay, your money got to be fairly right, okay? But the woman's going to multiply you. She'll help you get to where you want to go. And I've met so many men older than me from established families, and that's what I've seen. The woman multiplied, what they've been able to do. And they brought the woman in. They kind of were like, they worked together. So the woman was able to maybe like manage a small business, or he took her business and he was able to promote her business, but it all came under his structure, So you don't have to wait and wait and wait, because back, men and women didn't do that. They got together and they had a family, and the man made it happen. Like you're gonna even make it happen even more because you've got a beautiful woman lying in the bed.
Get your priorities right.
Yeah. You're gonna fucking figure it fucking out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in all, it just makes everything better. You figure things out earlier. You have a family earlier, so you use your sexual energy in your prime, and then the communities also at the same time are safer. So men don't have to wait until they become super, super rich until they find a woman. Get on your purpose, realize you're gonna get there anyway in the first place, and that good woman will join you. She'll be like, "Yeah, I'll help you." And that good woman, she doesn't care about the money as such, because she knows that the man is already wealthy. Like she's just joining you on the journey. Yeah, she's joining you on the journey, and she then wants to put her spiritual energy into that man. Okay, this man, please. Oh, let me give him. Wow, I love this man. He's great. You're a fantastic babe. You can do it. You can do it. You're great. I love you so much. You're the most beautiful man in the world. Well, if you're hearing that, again, it's magic. So it's gonna... There you go.
We got to get out of here now because
yeah.
Bro, this is awesome.